Greetings and welcome back to the channel. Today, this is about how God flipped the script on the narcissist. Did you ever think of it that way? Because that's actually what happened, and it occurred to me not only what happened, but what happens to the narcissist and to the devil. So I'm going to get into this. This is actually what occurs when you really think about it. What the narcissist did is they took our best attributes, the things that make us us, the things that make you a godly person, a person of high value, our strengths, in other words. And for a time, they turned those strengths into our greatest weaknesses. They counted and relied upon our godliness. Yes, our attributes, the ways that we are like Christ, and the good things we brought into their lives. The way we were is what makes us great in many respects, humbly saying that. It's exactly the things that they utilized and flipped and turned against us. So they flipped the script on us when we were in the relationship. Things like our empathy. Our empathy is one of our greatest strengths. You are a rotten, despicable person without empathy, i.e., a narcissist. So our empathy made us see their plight and and the dire difficulty of their situations, or at least their advertised situations, because we know they play the victim. The narcissist, in whatever capacity they did it to you, they played the victim. They made you feel sorry for them early on, probably in a crisis moment where they seemed like they got vulnerable and they opened up and they told you something that happened to them, which is exactly what happened to me. And our empathy made us feel for them. It made us get into their shoes and truly connect and say, I feel bad for what this person went through. And they would go on to weaponize that against us the entire relationship. Every single time that we wanted to leave, they would play victim, or they would maybe call upon the tragic things that have happened to them, real or not. And we would say, man, this person had a hard life. They went through a lot and they need me. They need me. They played upon our empathy, one of our greatest strengths. Another thing they played upon was our love. Yes, those of us who know the Lord, who are just genuinely good people overall, we have a lot of love to give. And they knew that, and they played upon it in a mighty way. See, our love is what bound us to them. Our love is what made us patient to a fault. Our love for this person, they do not reciprocate that. They claim to. They might tell you a million times they love you. They don't. They never did. But we did. We give that over to them. And that is what bound us to the narcissist. Because we truly, genuinely cared for that person. Even through the abuse, even through the things they were doing, we truly cared. And they weaponized our love against us in a very potent way. And another thing that we have that they weaponized against us was our faithfulness. Our faithfulness as people caused us to not cheat, to not entertain other options, like they always are. It also caused us to persevere through the struggles of the relationship and the abuse. When we enter into a relationship and are serious about a person, we are completely faithful in that relationship. Like I said, we're not entertaining other folks. We're not with other people. We're not thinking about who we can replace them with. We're not doing any of those things, but we're also dedicated. We know there's going to be ups and downs in a relationship to some level. Now, we didn't realize with the narcissist it was going to be an absolute roller coaster ride. And that's not what a relationship should be. And a good relationship should not be one of those things that we're saying, well, I know it's just going to be dreadful a lot. It's going to be really, really hard so much. It's going to be so hard. That's the wrong relationship. That's probably a toxic person. Don't convince yourself that relationships are supposed to be agonizing, grueling labor. Yes, there are difficulties because it's life and it's two people coming together, but it's not supposed to be agonizing, painful work all the time or even much of the time. But with the narcissist, it was. And it was our faithfulness that kept us persevering through their abuse, their criticism, all the dirty, rotten things that they do to us. We were faithful in that relationship. So our empathy, our love, our faithfulness are three major things that kept us bound to the narcissist that they knew we had. And they do search out people who have these things. Now, obviously, it's rare to come across people who really have all of this in spades. And the narcissist does come across other toxic people and other bad people or just low value people. I made a video a long time ago about this, and go search it if you want to see it. It was about the narcissist doesn't have the options you think they do. Because we often think they just go boom, 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 boom. Great person, wonderful, spectacular, great, spectacular. That's not how it works because there's not a bunch of those people out there. How many have you run into that you wanted to be in a relationship with? How many? Probably not very many because you'd still be with that person. So they don't have the options you think they do. But when they came across us, they came across somebody of rare value who had empathy, love, faithfulness, and probably a whole bunch of other stuff we brought in too. And they knew it and they weaponized it against us. They flipped the script. See, they don't possess any of these things that we do. But it's these things exactly that made us pliable and bendable and workable to the narcissist. We cared and wanted to love them, to help them, to see their betterment. And they used every last bit of that against us as powerfully as possible. So our strengths became our weaknesses for a time. But see, it was also these qualities that God used then to flip the script on the narcissist. See, they thought they were winning, and they were for a little while. And God said, you know, all those things that the narcissist is using against you, these good traits that are like me, I'm talking about what God is saying. These good things, the ways you're like me, they used against you, they flipped against you. Well, guess what? I'm going to use those same things now, and I'm going to flip it back on the narcissist. And God flips the script on them. You see, we escaped the narcissist. And it doesn't matter how, whether they discarded you or you discarded them or however that relationship ended. But they did not capture us forever. Even if you were unfortunately in it for years and years and years and years. They didn't capture you forever. You got out. They didn't take your soul, which is what they ultimately wanted to do. They did not claim that. You still have your soul. It's intact. If you're walking with the Lord, they did not get you. If you're out of that relationship, they did not get you, though they tried. So you see, we escaped. We got out. And what was it that got us out and sustained us? Those very things that the narcissist weaponized against us. You see, it was the Lord's empathy that enabled him to see our plight and to pull us out of that relationship. God's empathy, God's ability. Jesus walked as a human being. He can empathize and sympathize and relate to everything that we go through because he was a human being. And he still is. He took his humanity, transformed in a perfected state, bodies the way that a body that is perfected, transformed, that will one day have. But he bound himself to humanity forever. He walked in our shoes. And it was exactly the Lord's empathy that enabled us to get out. He saw our plight. He saw what we were going through. He answered our prayers because he knows what it's like to be involved with terrible, toxic, tragic people. See, the Lord flipped the script. It was the empathy that got us out. Another thing that God used was his love, his immense. John simply says God is love. He embodies what love is. He's love in being form. So it was his love that bound us to him. It was his love that was patient with us in our struggle. See, the same things that that narcissists used against us, that kept us there and bound us there, God used to get us out. So his love bound us to him, and pulled us out of that situation ultimately. What else? His faithfulness. The faithfulness of God is the thing that persevered through the abuse. It persevered through him watching us sweep red flag after red flag under the rug and ignore things and act out of character and do things we would never normally do, which is exactly what the narcissist gets you to do. You are not yourself when you're with these people. You can't be. So you'll notice that someone who's with a narcissist for a decade, 10, 15, 20 years, and they're still with them, they're not who they used to be. They are changed. You can't be bound to one of these hellions, heathens, demonically attached cretins, and not be changed for the worst. You can't do it. God, though, persevered and said, you're slipping up, you're going down the wrong path, you're mixed up with a toxic monster. And he stuck with us, though. He stuck with us and stuck with us through bad decisions, through mistakes, through, like I said, the red flags, through being in a relationship we had no business being in, as we found out. But his faithfulness persevered, and it's his faithfulness that got us out of it. He didn't give up. He didn't give up on us. So you see, God actually flips the script on these people. They weaponize our best attributes, our godly attributes, against us to capture us. And God then, in turn, uses those things to punish the narcissist. Because we got out. God has defeated the devil, the chief narcissist. God defeats all narcissists always. And those of us who are in him will always have victory over them. And once we've seen it, you can't unsee it. We won't fall back into that again. You can't fall back into it after you have seen it if you are walking with God. You cannot do it. So here is another thing. Not only did he flip the script, they are going to suffer for this now. We suffered for a time. We suffered in that relationship and after that relationship for a period of time until we healed and got to the right place. But now they will suffer our absence forever. No one is like a person of the light. Nobody on earth is like a person of the light. What we offer to people is unparalleled. And for the reasons I mentioned, the love, the empathy, the faithfulness. Maybe you brought a lot more in. If you brought in physical things, physical traits, if you brought in job and money and security and whatever else, that's great. And that's just additional. But a person of the light brings in those core essence characteristics that nobody else has. And they know that. If you think that you brought that in and they just, boom, replaced you like nothing, no, they did not. No, 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 no. Again, the narcissist doesn't have the options you think they do. Nobody does. These people are rare gems that bring those kind of godly traits in. They will live with your absence forever. And even though they're warped and twisted and we know how messed up they are, don't think they don't know that. That's why they say things like, I'll always compare everyone to you. Because they will. Because you set the bar, you set the standard, and no one else is going to reach that. They'd have to be unbelievably lucky to come across somebody like that again. And they know it. They aren't sorry for what they did to you, but boy, are they sorry that they don't have your supply. And you're not supply, and I'm not supply, but that's what it is to them. And they recognize it. Your energy, all the good things you brought, gone. God flipped the script. We lived in punishment for a little while. We suffered. They will suffer the rest of their lives without this person and you. They will. God offered them, see, a chance at reconciliation and life. By us entering their lives, that was the same as God saying, here's your shot. You don't deserve this. I'm not putting you two together. I didn't do this, but now that this person of mine, this person of the light has come into your life, you have on a silver platter a shot at reconciliation and a new life, an everlasting life. And what did the narcissists do? Instead of taking all of that up, they dug their own pit even deeper. They tortured a good person of the Lord. You don't think there's going to be incredible punishment for that in this life and the one to come? They took a silver platter opportunity to take the narrow path, a different path in life, and they instead blew it up and dug their own pit, they dug their own grave even deeper. God flipped the script on them. Big time. You'd feel sorry for this person if you knew what they do and will, more importantly, go through. You'd actually feel sorry for them. I do. I seriously do. I mean it. You see, if you are a person of the light, they'll never replace you. They'll live with that loss and everything that you could have brought into their lives and all the life they could have had in you. Stability, a healthy life, family, security, faith, a guide, someone to walk the narrow path with, to be saved, to be raised up to live on the last day, to meet the Lord Jesus in the air when he returns. They could have done all of that stuff. But instead, they blew it up and dug their pit. If you're a person of the light, know that they tortured you. They used the best things you have against you. And God, though, swept in and said, nope, it's those very things that I'm going to use to flip the script on the narcissist. And he does. And he did. I want to implore you guys, though, who are listening to this, who are not a believer, who are not a follower of Christ on the narrow path, not a person of the light, as I call them. If you're not, become one. Become one. If you don't know how to become one, reach out to me, email me. Easy enough. It's not complicated. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. So if you aren't, become one. But if you are not also out of the relationship with the narcissist, get out. God will flip the script on them, but he's not going to do it while you're still in it. You can't have a life more abundant while you're still in it. And he can't flip the script on the narcissist while you're still in it with them either. He'll blow both of you up if he does it. You got to get out. Take my words of caution. Take them seriously. It won't improve. It never will. Your life will go downhill, always, and they won't change. Got to get out, summon the strength, rip the massive Band-Aid off, and do it. And then watch God restore you, and then watch God flip the script on the narcissist. So guys, I hope that this makes sense. I hope this is a valuable message to you guys. It hit me pretty hard yesterday that actually this is exactly how God does it. They weaponized our best attributes against us, and it's those very things God possesses and we possess that he used to turn it upside down on them. God is faithful. So guys, I'll come at you with another one soon. Merry Christmas to you if I don't see you before then, but talk again soon. God bless.